Alright, so what do I think of whey protein powder? Personally, I don't use whey protein powder. I don't need it. I'm able to maintain, this physique without, protein or stuff like that. But if you're really, thin individual like I once was, protein powders or whey protein powders might be a good option for you. The thing about protein powders is, there's a lot of like side effects sometimes, which sometimes like if I'm gonna eat a protein powder, I might opt for like a vegan option, which I'm not some vegan weirdo of like you gotta be vegan, but nothing against vegans. One of my homeboys is a vegan. Shout out to Edison. But I'm just not a big fan of protein powders. Like I just don't know what's all in it. I'm a big Whole Foods type of guy. I like just making my food, eating foods that I know what it is. Like protein powders, like you don't necessarily know what is all is in that, and then sometimes it can make you have acne. You just feel sluggish, stuff like that. But I did use protein powders like whey protein, basic one you can buy from like Schnucks or something or the grocery store. When I was in like late high school, I would go buy that because it was cheap. And it's just a quick source of protein, especially if you don't got a lot of funds. It's like you don't want to spend all your money on groceries and stuff. So it's a quick way to get 25 to 50 grams of protein in. But now at the stage I'm at now is just like I just don't need to take protein powder anymore, and it's like I don't, it's the way it makes me feel. I'm not lactose intolerant or nothing, but I just prefer not to have it in my system. But again, for you younger guys who are like maybe real thin, real skinny, you're trying to put on that mass, you might need to, invest in some Gold's whey protein. Obviously do your research, but that's just my. And also, if you don't like the way protein powder makes you feel, it gives you acne, look into some vegan options. Because again, they have the same amount of macros, the same amount of protein, just without like the milk and like some of the other processed stuff. I'd advise going to Vitamin Shop. They got a lot of good options, and other places online like GNC. But a lot of times you want to stay away from those, in-person stores, because they're just going to try and sell you anything. Like if they can get you out of there buying something, that's all that matters to them. They don't really care about, you know, your fitness journey. It's like, they're not, they're not there to help you. They're there to sell you something. And plus, look at the guys behind the counter. Half the time, they're not even in shape. These guys aren't even jacked. I'm not saying being jacked means you're healthy, but like, I remember when I was a teenager, I walk in there, I'm like, I'm more jacked than the guy who's giving me advice on protein powder. It's like, bro, like, why am I here? And he's asking me for advice, and I'm just like, well, I mean, I'm just working out hard. But yeah, a lot of times they're just like salesmen. That's all they are. So rarely do they know anything about fitness or what they're telling you to put in your body. Do a lot of research. But again, I'm not like the biggest fan of like whey proteins and stuff like that, especially the effects on your kidneys. I mean, there's a lot of studies on that, like, too much like protein, all that lactose, all that stuff, how it affects your kidneys, your liver, stuff like that. So I like to stay more natural with it, but it's up to you. But again, if you want to use it to get those quick newbie gains, then yeah, you should definitely hop on some whey protein, maybe some mass gainer. But again, if you're thinking longevity wise, maybe cycle off that stuff once you do get your mass up and you're able to consume more food. You get your stomach bigger, because as you grow, your stomach's going to get bigger and you'll be able to eat more protein. That's what happened to me. Eat more protein, eat more carbs. When I was like 150 pounds, walking around with like bony arms, just like a skinny kid, I couldn't put down that much food. I mean, I could, but like nothing like I can do now. So once you get bigger, maybe cycle off and maybe get back into like the Whole Foods options. But obviously do both. I'm not like advocating against whey protein, just my thoughts on it. But of course, always do your research. But